This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode 308 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. And guess what it's time to do for the first time this year? Year to shaking? Yep. Okay. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us, and let's start off like we do on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Whitney in Troy, Pennsylvania.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, hopefully everybody is having a good start to this week, because last week was interesting. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah.
One way to put that, what happened last week?
Yeah, let's just say that the news organizations are not hurting for information at the moment. Not been a slow news week.
No.
At least for that. It has been for us, though, because we have no news and we have no feedback. So who knows how many names we're going to pull out of this hat? I guess it depends on how long the person's resume is. So, oh my. But for new folks who may not know what the heck we're talking about, this is our kind of, we're gonna draw a name out of a hat, and well, sometimes it's an actual hat. In this case, I've just got a pouch that all the slips of paper in. But each slip of paper has a celebrity's name written on it. Mostly they're actors, for the most part. Although there are some people that are known for having other talents besides, acting. But we pull one or two, maybe three out per episode, but we have no idea who it is we're going to be talking about when the episode starts. So we all have to have things like Wikipedia and IMDb open. Because sometimes you can't always think of the things that you may know that person from off the top of your head.
Yep.
So, and as we've been an added twist that I've added in the last handful of episodes is I won't tell you who it is when I first pull the name. I'm going to make you guess by giving clues over who they are based on usually their Wikipedia entry. So accuracy, I do not claim responsibility for accuracy. So, alrighty then. We got our first person here. After doing quite a bit of shuffling there. So, this person is male. Born the 4th of April, 1960. They are British, technically, but they were actually born in Nigeria. And currently lives in Australia. So, quite the world traveler here. Actually got their start, their first television role on an Australian TV series.
The things if I know from Australia, that live in Australia.
Yeah, born at the University of Ibadan Teaching Hospital in Ibadan, Nigeria. His parents are British. His maternal grandmother was Belgian. And when he was a year old, they returned to the UK. And they lived in Bedford and Brighton, and then moved to Melbourne and Sydney in Australia, then Johannesburg in South Africa, then returned to the United Kingdom again.
Wow.
He played one of his first theatrical roles in 1973. His family moved back to Australia in 1976, where he went to grammar school and then graduated from Sydney's National Institute of Dramatic Arts in 1981. You are going to know this guy, from he's been in multiple entries in two one's a larger franchise than the other, but each franchise consists of at least 3 movies.
Okay.
He's also appeared in one other rather large franchise, but only once.
I think I figured out who it is.
Okay.
Is it Hugo?
Huh?
Hugo Weaving?
Yes.
Wow.
Good guess. Yes, that would be Hugo Weaving. Got a little bit of his bio there. But yeah, he got his first TV role in 1984 in the Australian television series Bodyline. Let's see. In the he did a lot of he did an Australian miniseries. I don't know. Another miniseries that I don't know. He won the Australian Film Institute's Best Actor Award in the low budget film Proof. And then he got kind of his first mainstream film role in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. He's also the voice of Rex the sheepdog in the movie Babe and Babe Pig in the City.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
But I think most of us know him from 1999 on, when he got the role of Agent Smith in the Matrix trilogy.
Yes.
Yep.
Which, because those came out first, when Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies came out, every time Elrond would say something, in my head I'd go, Mr. Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody who's seen did that.
Yes. Yeah. So he is he played Elrond in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then reprised the role in The Hobbit.
His strength returns.
That wound will never fully heal. He will carry it the rest of his life.
And yet to have come so far, still bearing the ring, the Hobbit has shown extraordinary resilience to its evil.
It is a burden he should never have had to bear. We can ask no more of Frodo.
Gandalf, the enemy is moving. Sauron's forces are massing in the east. His eye is fixed on Rivendell. And Saruman, you tell me, has betrayed us. Our list of allies grows thin.
His treachery runs deeper than you know. By foulcraft, Saruman has crossed orcs with goblin men. He's breeding an army in the caverns of Isengard. An army that can move in sunlight and cover great distance at speed. Saruman is coming for the ring.
This evil cannot be concealed by the power of the elves. We do not have the strength to fight both Mordor and Isengard. Gandalf, the ring cannot stay here. This peril belongs to all Middle-earth. They must decide now how to end it. The time of the elves is over. My people are leaving these shores. Who will you look to when we've gone? The dwarves? They hide in their mountains seeking riches. They care nothing for the troubles of others.
It is in men that we must place our hope.
Men. Men are weak. The race of men is failing. The blood of Numenor is all but spent. Its pride and dignity forgotten. It is because of men the ring survives.
Not that you really ever see his face, but he does play the title role of V in V for Vendetta, which is, for not being able to see his face and having to do all of his acting with that mask on, he actually does a pretty darn good job.
He does.
Funny thing is, he shares the birthday with Robert Downey Jr. I was like, wait a minute, no, we did him already. No,
Yep.
he wasn't born in 19. I tell you, all our fandoms are interconnected in more ways than one.
Mm-hmm. Because he's also been in the MCU.
Yes,
As
he
the bad-
has.
Red Bull.
Yep.
Johann
Schmidt,
Yes.
which he hated. One, because he was so. According to an interview he did in 2011, he said that he was weary of typecasting and of blockbuster films in general.
Huh.
He says, I think I've about had enough. I'm not sure how many more of them I'll make. It doesn't feel to me as though they've been the majority of my work, though that's probably the way it seems to most other people. But I've also heard that he hated the makeup for Red Skull. And he just despised having to do the makeup, and that's why he refused to do it again. Which, I mean, he's probably right. I mean, you look at his filmography, and he's done quite a bit of, it's like you've got like these chunks where, it's like The Matrix and the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and then more of The Matrix. But then you pop in, other smaller films that you probably never even heard of, like Peaches or Little Fish, and then you go back to large blockbuster movies, like he was the voice of Megatron in Michael Bay's Transformers movie, which apparently caused a lot of kerfuffle because people thought that the original voice of Megatron should have been the voice, but so, it's like the Transformers, which is not his face, but still, it's another big franchise. You got Captain America, and then, you've got The Hobbit, in there, but then you've got little, other, again, films that maybe not a lot of people, recognize them just by the title. So, I forgot he was in Mortal Engines.
I haven't seen that.
Which, considering the screenplay was written by our Tolkien trio of those Kiwis, they all stick together. So, I kind of see where he's coming from, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, if you look at your resume, dude, it's, the big blockbuster things are going to jump out of people.
Yep, exactly.
People are gonna be like, "Ooh, Transformers." They're not gonna be like, "Ooh, oranges and sunshine."
Right, yeah.
You know?
Or the dressmaker.
Yeah.
Right?
Some of those. I mean, he's been nominated for a good, a number of things for those, for some of those, you know, less blockbustery films, which, I'm sure that they're good. He's got really solid performances, but, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna watch The Hobbit,
Mm-hmm.
before I turn on something else. So,
Mm-hmm.
although I don't think I'm gonna be watching Cloud Atlas anytime soon because I've heard that that movie is a mess.
That's what
I
I've heard.
So,
feel like he plays like a billion characters in that movie. It looks like.
yeah, yeah,
And it looks like everybody. Yeah.
yeah. Which I think is partially why the movie I think is supposedly a mess because it's like a lot of time jumping, but then they have like the same actors playing different people in different time periods. I think.
Mm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Outside of his professional work, what else? Oh, well, I did not know this. When he was 13 years old, he was diagnosed with epilepsy.
Ooh, that's not fun.
Yeah. It says, although this disability rarely affected him and stopped completely after he turned 18, he still chooses not to drive given the risk of potential seizures, which is probably very smart.
Yeah.
He has been with the same woman since 1984. They have 2 kids, Harry and Holly.
Hmm.
He's got a niece that is also an actress. Apparently, his son is an actress, actually. He goes by the name Harry Greenwood, though. That's his mother's maiden name. 2004, he became an ambassador for the Australian animal rights organization Voiceless.
Oh.
He's also been a spokesman for epilepsy charities. Good for him. He also has been, actually it was last year, he was named Honorary Officer of the Order of Australia.
Cool.
It is an order of chivalry established by Queen Elizabeth II to recognize Australian citizens and other persons for achievement or meritorious service. So it's kind of like getting the OBE or whatever for the Brits.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. I learned a few things there.
Same here.
I did not know he was born in Nigeria.
Oh, I didn't either.
I didn't even know he was in Australia. I thought he was just from England. Like, I guess they're trying to shock me too much because he's in.
You know we love reading, but sometimes it's hard to find time to physically sit down with a book, which is why the Five-ish Fangirls has proudly partnered with Audible. Audible is a leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs. Whatever makes you squee, there's a perfect listen for you. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals. Whether you're adventuring through time and space, running from dinosaurs, or capturing ghosts, with the free app, audiobooks go where you go. You can download titles and listen offline, anytime, anywhere. Even if you switch devices, you'll never lose your place. And right now, Five-ish Fangirls listeners can sign up for a free 30-day trial by going to audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. That's 30 days to check out not only their huge collection of audiobooks, but also podcasts, guided wellness programs, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. So continue the joy of reading with Audible. Don't see a title that trips your trigger one month? No problem. Your credit will roll over to the next month, and you can quit anytime and keep the books you've acquired forever. For more details and to sign up for your free 30-day trial, visit audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. That's audibletrial.com/5ishfangirls. And now, back to the podcast. Okay. Well, let's do another one, because that didn't take very long. Come on, somebody with a bigger resume. Probably another Brit.
Well, are we too surprised, Rach? Oh boy, this is either really good or really short. What are the two?
It might be about the same, actually.
Oh boy.
The irony of the the irony is, of course, with the Brits, there's got 12 actors anyway, so there's bound to be some overlap.
Oh, it's gonna be so okay. This is interesting.
So this person is also male and British. Born the 20th of April, 1964. One of the highest grossing actors of all time. And considering the franchises that he's in, that would make an awful lot of sense. He's received an Empire Award and 2 Saturn Awards. He's had a Golden Globe nomination. He has been nominated for BAFTA. And he's also received a BAFTA Award for outstanding British contribution to cinema.
Ooh.
He has his own production company and workshop called The Imaginarium, based in London. He made his directorial debut in 2017. He's also set to direct a more large budget mainstream film due out this year.
Okay.
He was born and brought up in Ruislip Manor in Middlesex, which is now considered a part of Greater London. His mother was English and taught. His father was an Iraqi Armenian gynecologist. His father often worked abroad in the Middle East, but he and his siblings were raised in Britain, but they'd holiday regularly in the Middle East. He went to St. Benedict's School in Ealing. He studied visual arts and theater as part of his degree at Lancaster University and graduated in 1985.
You guys, this should be obvious.
Is he in some of our tentpole fandoms?
Oh, well, I said, there's overlap.
Okay.
Yeah. He and Hugo Weaving would know each other.
Okay, then that narrows it down.
Yeah.
Could you consider him precious?
Possibly.
I from your response, I think my guess is correct. Is it Andy Serkis?
Precious.
My precious.
Yes. Yes, probably one of the greatest actors of the modern age who most people, well, I don't say most people, but a lot of people probably don't even know what he looks like in real life.
Right. Yeah. The only real good shot of what we have of what he looks like
Is in the
is
MCU
not exactly as
as Claw.
Claw or
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. Andrew Clement Circus. Although, yeah, as we all know him, Andy Circus.
Mhm.
Yep. So, yeah, like a lot of Brits, he got his start in theater, doing Shakespeare, King Lear, that sort of thing. He did a TV adaptation of Oliver Twist because that's what you do when you're Brit. But yeah, he first became mainstream as his performance as Smeagol/Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So, what's really interesting is it's interesting that I told him because we were Chauncey and I were listening to an episode of Unspooled back in October. Yeah, because it's when we were driving around Cleveland trying to find MCU locations. And I forget exactly what it was they were talking about that particular episode. I think it's when they were doing their Halloween. I think they were talking about like the original King Kong or something, and the special effects that went into that. And
Right.
supposedly, I've not seen anything to this effect because I didn't want to go looking. But supposedly, according to the our two hosts on Unspooled, they were the conversation snowballed into talking about modern day, like you know creatures in movies and how they do motion capture, which is how they did Smeagol and
Mhm.
Gollum and in the first Lord of the Rings. Um, and just at the time how groundbreaking it was, considering Andy Serkis's performance. But supposedly there are people, I don't think it's a good number of them, I think it's just like a couple of people that probably have a bee in their bonnet, but supposedly there are a couple of people that I don't know if they still work at Weta or not, but have worked at Weta at the time and claim that the reason that Smeagol/Gollum is such a amazing performance and what's the word I'm looking for, like accomplishment of like
Mhm.
digital character is because of them, and it has nothing to do with Andy Serkis's performance. It says they
Mm.
said they claim that it's all on them and had nothing to do with him. I call bullcrap
Mhm.
of the highest order.
Yeah.
It has to do with both, but
Yeah.
you have to. The whole thing with the motion cap is it gets captured. I mean, if you watch anything, whether it's the behind the scenes stuff with the Lord of the Rings or anything else where motion capture has been used, um, the mocap uses so many points on the person, so it captures a lot of the micro movements that we don't necessarily consciously are aware of, like when we're looking at somebody or talking to somebody. Obviously if somebody's talking and they bust out into a big smile, you're going to see that, but then there's the more subtle like facial things, maybe just the eyebrow, moving just a certain way, or the nostrils flaring a little or something. It's all those tiny little micro muscle, facial, body movements that when they add up all together equal, you know, somebody being able to interpret what somebody's feeling or what somebody's trying to portray. And motion capture is really good about capturing a lot of that, but of course, it needs to go in and be handled by the digital effects team and clean that up and make it look the best that it really can, because you can't just do mocap straight to the big screen. It just doesn't work that way. Um, but I mean, if you've seen the behind the scenes footage of Andy Serkis playing Gollum, I mean, he is acting like it's going to be him on the film. You know, that's that they're not going to replace him with a digital character. Um, and that gets captured into what the motion capture rig um processes. So, those people that claim that Gollum is amazing because of them and just them and not because of Andy Serkis, bye.
Mhm.
you know, even some characters where, like Snoke in, the new Star Wars trilogy. Like at the end of the day, people are like, "Oh my God, Snoke! What was the point of him? He like did nothing," which he kind of did. But I mean, he didn't do a
Mhm.
lot compared to some others. But
Right.
he's no Darth Vader. But
No.
still, Andy Serkis's performance was still really good.
Yes.
you know, after uh after the second movie, I think, is that the one? Yeah, that was the one where Snoke gets sawed in half. Um, I think I even posted on Facebook like after, and it was like, okay, what is it going to take for Andy Serkis to get like the recognition he deserves for being the actor that he is for his performances, because he's so good, and there's so many times where if places like the Academy would recognize a motion capture performance as acting, the man could have an Oscar or two by this point.
Mhm.
But they don't. They still don't recognize the motion capture performances as acting yet, and that's stupid. Anyway, my soapbox of Andy Serkis. uh, but as he's uh that's not the only stuff he's done, but yeah, I mean, he kind of is known as the motion capture guy. So, but he's done some other um things that are actually his face. So he's in 13 going on 30.
Mhm. Yeah, I saw that scrolling through.
Yeah. He again, motion capture. He did Kong in Peter Jackson's King Kong.
Mhm.
Uh we actually get to see his face in The Prestige. He plays Nikola Tesla's assistant, Mr. Alley, which that's just a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
So the Planet of the Apes. He does both the voice and the motion capture for Caesar. Um, he is in The Adventures of Tintin, again co-produced by Peter Jackson. It was a Steven Spielberg film, but Peter Jackson co-produced it. And again, that's motion capture. but he also did the voice. And of course, we see Gollum in The Hobbit, at least in An Unexpected Journey. And then Snoke in the new Star Wars. More motion capture as Baloo in Mowgli, Legend of the Jungle. And again, we see his face in the MCU as Ulysses Claw in Age of Ultron and Black Panther, which he again, that just shows his his range of acting. Even when he's not being motion captured, he's just a really good actor. I mean, Claw is just like, he does like the few fries short of a Happy Meal type bad guy really well.
Yes, so well. Especially Black Panther, when he comes in like he's a rap god or a rap record producer, like, hey,
yeah,
album.
Exactly.
Oh,
But I mean, as far as what he's got coming up, he is directing Venom, the next Venom movie.
Cool.
Which is part of not the MCU, but the Sony cinematic universe, Spider-Man universe, I guess. And then he is going to be in The Batman, which is the new Batman with Robert Pattinson. He's going to be playing Pennyworth, Alfred.
And supposedly Michael Keaton's supposed to make an appearance.
Supposedly. And he's done some television, not anything I really recognize. I mean, I was, like your usual things Brits do, like Oliver Twist.
There's one that I want to see now.
Version of The Christmas Carol, a miniseries that came out a couple years ago.
There's a TV movie called Einstein Eddington, and he plays Einstein. And David Tennant plays Eddington. So.
Oh.
That one might be worth checking out.
Interesting. Ooh, yes. Hello. That is a actor combination I did not know I wanted. How long? And then the question rises: how long till we get Andy Serkis on Doctor Who?
Good question. He would make a good Dalek.
I mean, just come up with just like the most crazy creature, and he can do it. Oh yes, and he is in the Sandman. The Neil Gaiman adaptation.
Oh, the audiobook.
Audible.
Yeah.
He's also narrated a audiobook version of The Hobbit.
I've listened to that. It was a good job.
The Hobbit jumped nearly out of his skin when the hiss came in his ears, and he suddenly saw the pale eyes sticking out at him. Who are you? He said, thrusting the dagger out in front of him. What is he, my precious? Whispered Gollum, who always spoke to himself through never having anyone else to speak to. This is what he had come to find out, for he was not really very hungry at the moment, only curious. Otherwise, he would have grabbed first and whispered afterwards. I am Mr. Bilbo Baggins. I have lost the dwarves, and I have lost the wizard, and I don't know where I am, and I don't want to know, if only I can get away. What's he got in his hands, said Gollum, looking at the sword, which he did not quite like. a sword, a blade, which came out of Gondolin, said Gollum, and became quite polite. Perhaps he sits here and chats with it a bit, my precious. It likes riddles, perhaps, does it? He was anxious to appear friendly, at any rate for the moment, until he found out more about the sword and the hobbit, whether he was quite alone really, whether he was good to eat, and whether Gollum was really hungry. Riddles were all he could think of. Asking them, and sometimes guessing them, had been the only game he had ever played with other funny creatures sitting in their holes in the long, long ago, before he lost all his friends and was driven away alone and crept down into the dark under the mountains.
Let's see. He lives. On the personal side, he lives in North London with his wife and their 3 children. And apparently all of his kids are getting into show business too.
I like this sort of fact. He uses his Golem voice on his children for fun and or when they misbehave. Because, of course, if you're the voice of Golem, you would do that to your children. Because I know I would if I could in Hadria.
That's why he's got the reading of The Hobbit. It was a charity thing he did for the pandemic last year. He read the entire book to raise money for Best Beginnings and the NHS. So he read it live on YouTube and took just under 11 hours, and they raised upwards of £300,000.
Wow. Cool.
But he's actually going to do professional narration, according to HarperCollins UK. So, actually, that he's already done it. It's already been released. It was released the 3rd of September with cover art by Alan Lee. Because if it's anything Tolkien, who else is going to do the cover art but Alan Lee? Well, let's do one more. Let's see if we can get a gal this time. There's not the male to female celebrity ratio is very heavily weighted in the male's favor, so we'll see. But let's see if I can get a lady. Oop, I got too many. Oh, okay. I did get a lady.
Woohoo!
Yay! And she's not British.
Okay.
She's American.
They're both kind of a rarity for us.
Huh?
They're both a
Kind of
rarity for us.
Yeah. Okay, this American actress, born the 20th of November, 1963. Everybody, we pulled those all in like the same age bracket. So, born November 20th, 1963. She is, let's see, she made her most let's see here, what can I do that won't automatically give it away? She is let's see, she graduated from Carnegie Mellon University in 1986. After one of her first notable film performances, her second film appearance was fairly notable. And that got her a television role on a quite long running TV series. It was this series was around for 15 seasons starting in the 90s. And she was in
Okay.
118 episodes.
Okay.
She's done some voice acting, which most people these days have at least one or two voice acting credits to their note. And in the last less than 10 years, last decade, she has she is part of two of our tent poles.
Okay. With the drama that had lasted 15 years, would it happen to be ER?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. Would the actress
Ooh, I was
be Alex
wondering.
Kingston?
Nope, not a Brit.
Ooh, not a Brit. Darn it. Okay, so ER. Who else?
Oh, I forgot he was.
Shoot. Hmm.
Because if I say anything else, it will give it
Was one of the temples, was she
Oh!
in
I think I got it. Is it Meng Na Wen?
away. Yes.
I was gonna ask, like, was she just recently in a show that we all watched and just helped her
Yeah.
Like I said, if I said anything else, it was
Yeah.
going to give us away.
Well, and I'm cycling through my mental Rolodex
I couldn't
of
even
who's
like
been
go
on
in.
ER.
Yeah. I couldn't
It's like,
even go
no,
into
no,
the
no.
more of her like early life, saying that she was born on one of the two main islands of Macau. It's like that would give it away. It's like
Right, yeah.
Chinese.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, so Ming Na Wen, born in I'm gonna butcher this, Coloane, one of the two main islands of Macau. Her parents had moved there in the mid 60s from mainland China. Her parents divorced when she was an infant, and she moved with her mother to Hong Kong. Her mother remarried, and the family moved to New York City when she was 4. 5 years after that, her mother and stepfather relocated again to Pittsburgh, where they opened the Chinatown Inn restaurant, which is still in operation, which I wish I'd known that when I was in Pittsburgh. A couple of years ago, I'm like, we could have got a Ming Na Wen's parents' restaurant. But yeah, so she was raised in the suburb of Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and attended Mount Lebanon High School, and then went to Carnegie Mellon in 1986.
Hello, class of 2020. This is Ming Na Wen, fellow CMU alum, and the drama class of 19... You can look it up. Carnegie Mellon has given me the skills and knowledge to help me pursue a successful acting career. And I know that everything that you have learned is going to help you to make your career a success also. So congratulations on getting that degree. As the voice of Mulan, I would say to you, be true to your heart. Because if you do that, all your dreams will become reality. Take it from me, a Disney legend, and also someone that just did a Star Wars project with The Mandalorian. Yeah, that was a big dream come true. Yours will come true too, okay? So congratulations again. Much love.
Since because she lived in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, is because one of her first television credits is an appearance in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Which we have all seen.
Which I did not realize until Twitch was doing the Mr. Rogers marathon, and I just so happened to have the episode on, and in the land of make believe, there are 3, I guess, trumpeters that make announcements on behalf of the king or to the king, but they each one has to say a word and to give out the entire message. And I was like, wait a minute, that looks like Agent May. A very, very young Agent May. And I was
Agent May, is that you?
In 1985. She was on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So, and then she went to be on the soap As the World Turns for 3 years. And then she did the Joy Luck Club in 1993. And yeah, and then in 95, well, no, she entered, she entered partway through season 1 on ER. And then she left and returned in season 6 and then stuck around through season 11, and then that was it. So, and she gets a name drop in season 15. Her character gets a name drop in season 15. So,
you know what's funny? I was just talking about ER recently, and I've been wanting to watch that again. You know what?
I started to watch it. It's a lot.
It
is a very full show. That's the only way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
There's just a lot going on in ER, which you know, considering considering it takes place in an emergency room, and exciting things is what's going to get people to watch. So a lot of people standing around going, gee, I wish, an ambulance would come bring somebody so we have something to do. So,
I mean, and quite the ensemble cast with reoccurring characters and
yeah,
threads.
I mean, 15
yeah.
seasons. So,
oh yes, because I can remember many a Thursday night in college. It was Survivor, CSI, and then ER.
Yeah. Yeah. And considering how many
people into my room.
Yeah, considering how many people have been part of ER at one point or another and are now, we know them from something else, like Noah Wiley or Alex Kingston, forget, no offense to George Clooney, but everybody knows George Clooney.
Right.
But anyway, back to Ming Na Wen. So she did ER. She's done, again, a lot of voice acting, including Mulan, that movie in 1998, which we did a whole episode about Mulan last year. So you can go listen to that, and we talk about Ming Na Wen in that. She was in the Street Fighter movie. She played Chun-Li.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. So she did come back to do the voice of Mulan for the direct-to-video Mulan 2, which we did not talk about in our Mulan episode because it does not need to be talked about. Yeah, she does come back as the voice of Mulan in Ralph Breaks the Internet. So, and hopefully at this point this is not a spoiler, but she may or may not make a cameo in the live-action Mulan. But she's kind of blink and you miss her. according to some people. So me, I've seen images and I'm like, I would recognize, I would have recognized her, but there's some other people like, oh my god, like, did you fall asleep? um, she was on Stargate. The early 2000s, 31 episodes of Stargate Universe. So, and of course, nowadays we know her best as Agent Melinda May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., one half of Felinda, if you're into that ship. So that makes her officially part of the MCU, of course.
Yep.
Although she's also done some voice acting in the MCU that are not Agent May. She is in and the animated Guardians of the Galaxy series that was on Disney XD. And then Marvel Rising Secret Warriors. And then of course now we all know her as Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian, also in the soon-to-be spin-off from The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett. And Star Wars The Bad Batch, because Fennec Shand will be appearing in that as well. So
awesome. I like her character.
Yeah, me too. And at the last D23 Expo, she was made a Disney legend.
Yay!
As
very well-deserved honor.
Yes. She and her husband Eric have 2 kids. Her daughter has also gone on into acting, at least voice acting. She voices her daughter Michaela voices Princess June in Sophia the First, which is a Disney Channel series. So, and she is almost 60 years old and is hot as hell. And would kick my ass. She had knee surgery while doing, in between seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Did it affect her performance in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. at all? No. Not at all. If you follow her on social media, she is really, really into taking care of herself. She even has like her own like line of like health and wellness things. I don't know if she does products or if she just does like exercises and stuff. It's called Whenever. But yeah, she's kind of, she's got her own social media accounts for that, so you can follow that. So she's not like using her personal for like all sorts of like, hey, buy my stuff. You can go follow the separate one and see her showing off like her favorite things to eat and her favorite exercises and stuff. And if I had I know I could probably be in just as good a shape as she is if I had her determination, but I like to sit and eat too much. So Ming-Na, more power to you. You go, girl. 57. Her and Marissa Tomei, both of them. I'm like, seriously? How do you do it? I know how you do it, but how do you find the effort and the will to do it? And she is pretty active on social media, so she is one to follow. So she's awesome. I love her. Can we be friends? Pretty please. Ming-Na Wen, whenever you want, you can come on the show. We will gladly have you. Andy Serkis too. I don't know if Hugo Weaving. I don't know if Hugo Weaving would want to, but I mean, if he wants to, you're all invited. I'm just saying, of the most likely.
Really, every actor or actress that we had tonight always in the MCU at some point.
Yep. Yes, all three have been in the MCU, and 2 out of the 3 are part of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all owned by Disney, and therefore it's a small world now. Sorry.
It's all
I will not get that-
connected.
I will not get that stuck in your head. Too late.
I was gonna say,
So, yeah. Well, that's 3. I think that is sufficient for this go round. Considering we haven't done this since August, it'll be another 5-6 months before we do it again, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So, if any of our listeners, if any of our 3 names that we drew out of the hat, if they've been part of something that maybe we didn't mention, a movie or TV series, you're like, oh, you should watch this. Like that wonderful, production with Andy Serkis and David Tennant that we all have now added to our to watch list.
Yes.
If there's anything like that you're like, hey, you should go watch this, please let us know. You can do that by sending us feedback, and the easiest way to do that is via our website, which is the5ishfangirls.com. From there you can send us an email, or you can connect with us on any of the number of social media platforms that we are on. You can always send us a DM or whatever the proper terminology is for said platform, and we will get it and maybe read it out loud. And also on our website is links to the book club. So if you want to go join our Doctor Who book club discussions on Goodreads, you can do that. And of course, you can, if you're listening to this, odds are you found us via some social podcasting platform. But please feel free to spread the word to your friends and family. That is the best way to help us out, is to help get the word out, and retweeting and or tagging us, whatever. It doesn't cost you really a whole lot other than your time, and we greatly appreciate that. But if you would like to give us your money, we're not going to say no. You can do that a number of ways. You become a supporter on Patreon. There's a link to that. We also have our Ko-fi and our merchandise on Redbubble, and our affiliate links with Amazon and Audible. So there's a number of ways you can support us with your money if you so wish. So there's that. So we look forward to your feedback if you decide to send it in. And unless anybody has anything else, we shall sign off for this week.
this is Whitney and Ty saying goodnight.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to the 5-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at the5ishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official 5ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.